13 to 14. Cowboys out in front. Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneaking. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you'd like to email the show, you can send a message to PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. And we've got a special guest on the show tonight for our Chalk Talk edition of Packers Total Access, and that's Coach Hahn. Coach, how's your day been, man?
Oh, it's a great day. Last day off of winter break here, going back to school tomorrow. So super excited about that, and got some things done around the house. It was a great day.
Gotcha. You didn't hit the honeydew list, did you?
Yeah, we hit it pretty hard today. Yeah, I've been forgetting some of those things throughout winter break. Just watched a lot of football, so that built up.
Absolutely. That's the only bad thing about football season is they're giving you a little bit of room to have fun, but the second that season's over, oh dude, she's gonna work me like a dog. I'm just telling you right now, it's gonna happen. So, but on the show tonight, guys, thank you for tuning in here on Twitter and YouTube, and also, excuse me, for those of you listening on the pod here on Tuesday afternoon. What we're gonna do is break down 6 plays here. And some a little more detailed than others, but we want to talk about the flow of the game against Minnesota last night, and really what kind of dictated the outcome, if you will. You're going to notice that, to the best of my knowledge, there's literally no second half plays here that we're going to cover, and the reason being is the majority of what controlled the flow of that game really happened in the first half. I mean, you never want to come out of halftime going, we got this one in the bag, and nor should the Packers have felt like that. And obviously they kept their foot on the throttle there. But when you win the middle late, you're winning the turnover differential, you come out of halftime, Coach, and it's literally the clock is your opponent. Am I right?
Hey, you're dead on. You're going to try some things adjustment-wise and identify some of the things that you really liked to revisit in the first half. But yeah, when you got a lead like that, you don't want to think that way, but you're constantly catching yourself glancing at the clock going, tick, 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 let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to jump into the first play. And guys and gals listening to this, just want to say that, all terminology for different coaching staffs is a little bit different, right? So you may hear me use terms, you may hear coach use terms that you might have heard explained a little bit different from other coaches, other fans, what have you. This show is not designed to try to show you how smart we are, right? It's for us to try to communicate to people listening on the podcast and those of you tuning in live. Okay, what are the specifics? What are the details to these plays that really made them go? And how important it was that they happened when they happened, right? That's kind of so many times you can look at a box score and you come away from a game and you're like, you think you completely understand it. Then you go back. This is for me anyway. I go back and watch the tape and I'm like, that's not how I expected that game to go at all. And it's important to kind of understand the details. So the first play comes here in the first quarter, Coach. I personally believe this was the most important play of the entire game. And it sounds so silly, but Green Bay obviously had a punt blocked, and now Minnesota drove all the way down inside the 5. So we're now to a 3rd and goal on the 1-yard line. I mean, the Packers are backed up. It's 11:28 left in the first quarter. This is really going to determine how the rest of the day goes here. And the thing that Minnesota did, obviously, they came out on the 1-yard line. They're showing a 22-eye strong left. And what's unique about this, Coach, if you look up to the right, you've got Jefferson up at the top of the screen here, right? And what I noticed was they've got Rasul on him. And I can't think of one situation in this game where Joe Barry, I could look at it and go, that's a bad decision by Joe Barry. It seemed like they had this game plan so well thought out. Now, why would you not put Jair Alexander on their only receiver on the field and arguably the best receiver in the game? I'll tell you why. Excuse my cough, and I'm still getting over this flu. It's because Rasul Douglas is 6'2". Right. And you want that hot down there because about the only thing they're going to try here is probably a fade pattern if they do pass it. So I just wanted to point that out. And what it allows to happen here is now you see Jair down here on the line of scrimmage. Right. So essentially Green Bay comes out in a 4-3 personnel, but they've got a 7-man front. So across the board here, what you've got from right to left, from behind the center. You basically got an outside linebacker playing that kind of that wide nine look, if you will, and then you've got four defensive linemen down in the 3-point stance, ready to submarine. And then, of course, you've got your opposite outside linebacker with Ja right in his hip pocket. You've got Devondre Campbell sneaking up, mugging this A gap. And they're ready. They're ready for the run here. You've got Jefferson on an island. You're trusting Rasul Douglas. You've got Savage here playing safety. And you'll notice Savage really cheats down. But you could tell if he sees Kirk Cousins pull this ball, Coach, then he's probably dropping back to this slant if Jefferson runs a slant. But right out of the gate, you can see he takes a peek. As soon as he turns to hand it off, you see Jefferson does a little stutter step, and he's going outside. So if anything, he's going to run a fade. But at this point, you can kind of see. And you could tell, man, Jefferson's a great receiver, but he's kind of lazy right here. Like you want to try to sell that route a little bit more, in my opinion, because that really, if Savage is taking a peek right there, he's just coming right off the edge to help make a play. But the thing that I wanted to point out here, Coach, was TJ Slaton. TJ Slaton blew this play up. And if you guys look, he's pretty much playing nose right now. He's right over the center. He's kind of shading inside. So I guess that's what you would call that inside technique off the nose. But you can see him right here, Coach. He's getting a little bit antsy. He's ready to jump. He's ready to go, right? The ball snapped. Watch him jump this gap. Absolutely shoots it. He's in the backfield, beats his guy. But look at this shed right here, Coach. And TJ Slaton, I think he had the best game of his career so far. Granted, he's young. I think he was a rookie last year, if I remember correctly. So sophomore season, and he's coming out, and he showed flashes in really the biggest game of the year. Puts a little over-under here, or whatever you want to call it, maybe a rip or a swim, and he's just right around, and look at him get a paw, big paw on that jersey, and he made this play go here. Just a huge play by TJ Slaton. The other thing I wanted to point out, Coach, we dogged Jair Alexander earlier in the year. Look, I'm dragging you in the middle of this, right? But, we talked about how he didn't make a tackle early in the year off the edge. I can't remember what game it was, but it's like, man, come on. That's the difference between 6 points and holding them to a field goal, and you can't lower your shoulder. Well, Ja come out here off the edge, and look at him get dirty here, Coach. Submarines in. He's going to go straight for the knees on Dalvin Cook, chop him down. Adrian Amos finishes it out. And I love how Ja is like laying in the fetal position, waiting for a 300-pounder to land on him. You see this? But what did you see there, Coach? Did anything stand out to you? I mean, other than Slaton just blowing it up and Alexander willing to get dirty?
Yeah, you're dead on a couple of things here. Ja, if memory serves me correctly, very similar situation with Ja against Detroit earlier in the year. Where we didn't necessarily see that effort. But this is the view I was really hoping that we'd get to see from the end zone shot here. The really cool thing about this is watching Campbell's steps. Your inside backer here, 59, and right now he is literally just playing running back as well. He knows that he's going to be able to get down into the hole. He's playing the center guard gap and rules that we call open closed windows, right? So as you see that left guard peel off and have to take the two tech, and the center have to go to the offense's right to take on Slaton, you've got that window there, right? And if you're playing inside linebacker and you're literally reading the fullback now instead of that guard that you would normally read because you're the only inside backer now, you can fill that gap and stand it up pretty heavily with CJ Ham, the fullback, coming downhill. And when you're able to do that, now you make Dalvin Cook stop his feet in the backfield. Even though it's a momentary stop, he's got to change direction. This play is going to the weak side, to the offense's right. It's supposed to be zone lead to the right. They were hoping to get CJ Ham one-on-one with the fullback and let Dalvin read that block, or one-on-one with Devondre, the linebacker, and let Dalvin just kind of read that block and careen into the end zone. But really good penetration by Slaton there, and a really patient, it's patient aggression, if you will, from 59, who I thought had an unbelievable day yesterday as well. That really kind of set this up, made it bounce back to the strong side where they didn't want it to go, because now you got two defensive linemen able to take on two tight ends, and you don't have an answer for the hung corner out there who's Ja. So really good job on the interior, making him stop his feet and bounce his sucker a little bit and give the guys the chance to rally to the ball.
Absolutely. And the thing I noticed here on the playback, every time we do this, Coach, I've got pages of notes and I still see something new. And just the burst that Preston Smith has off the edge on that right side too. I mean, if Dalvin wanted to try to bounce it out, there was no option there, right? I mean, he's got the edge set. TJ's in his face. I mean, just a great play all the way around. You could tell this defense, coach, they came to play last night. And
yeah, really, really good gap integrity. You see the defensive tackle number 90, Jaron Reed, also had a really good day. As you watch him work on the left guard, he's going to do a really, really tough tech here. Excuse me, left tackle. He's going to do a tough technique here where you're going to stand up and then shed off. And that's a difficult thing to do because now you're giving yourself a two-way go. So when you put a big guy out there like Jaron Reed out at defensive end and you put your heavy package in and let Kenny eat that double, you're gonna give Jaron Reed, a really good player, a two-way go. Now he can shed that block as he squeezes it in and get a little patered as well. This is really, really well executed.
Absolutely. I love it, dude. And again, guys, the reason we highlighted that is it's kind of a boring play, right? It's 3rd and goal. It's not boring for us. Obviously, we're football nerds, but it being 3rd and goal, and that obviously forced Minnesota to kick a field goal. So you talk about damage control. You have a blocked punt, right? And then all of a sudden you look up and they're knocking on the door to go in and take a 7-0 lead. And the fact that they stood their ground there and held on the 3 points, that just gives the offense this boost of adrenaline. Like, okay, all right, let's slow down here. Let's get this thing back under control. But, Coach, they didn't even have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and share your screen here because the next play that we're going to highlight came in the first quarter, 10:38 left. And this is the kickoff, I believe, if I remember correctly, immediately following that play. Correct. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you had the field goal and then the very next kickoff. So here we go as we share your screen, and you just have at it here, man.
You got it. You mentioned sudden change and what that does for a defense. As great as all of this was, unfortunately, Green Bay getting the punt block, Minnesota starting with the ball on the 14, like that's a tough thing. Great stand by the defense. Had to, as soon as you go back to the bench, then as a defensive unit, you're taking a look at some film, you're making some adjustments for what you can see maybe following, and then you get a play like this. And don't get me wrong, it's awesome. Everybody loves it. Everybody's pumped on the sideline, but now you got to get ready to put that defense right back out on the field, right? So these are really seeing 2 sudden change situations in the span of less than a minute. So great job by the defense continually responding and doing a great job. But let's take a look at this. This is what Packer fans have been screaming for ever since y'all hired Rich and really want to see some of this interior wedge formation. There's nothing special about the scheme here. This is literally, you can't really wedge 3-man, 4-man wedge in the NFL anymore. However, this is as close as you can get to doing it, and it's just really well executed. We're going to watch the bait by this cat right here, 53. This is where we're saying they don't have to be decleating blocks on special teams because you get to play with so much space, right? You just have to maintain your lane. Well, what 53 is going to do here is he's going to invite 44 up the field and hinge him and then run him back around. And that's going to be pivotal. That is the first key component to a kick return. We're going to watch DeGuara here in the mix. Go ahead and running cats off. Really doing a nice job of being physical, being aggressive. Couple of moves by a real special kid. And then right here, number 38, Gaines. I can't wait for the all-22 to come out because I thought I saw him run off the gunner really, really well. And then he hits pursuit better than the fullback there, C.J. Ham. There's a really, really smart thing. It's hard to coach dudes who are literally taught to be violent, to be tough, and hit with everything you got type of stuff. On special teams, when you get something like this, when you bust out of the middle, it's really, really tough to teach them run in front, throw your hands up, set a basketball screen, whatever, because usually what you see here is he's going to go ahead and get a piece of the shoulder of C.J. Ham, spill him off, it's because he's looking for contact. He's inviting physicality, right? A lot of times you see that flag get thrown and this kick comes back, but not here. Really, really good job by 38. I believe Jacob said his name was Gaines. There it is. Yeah, it's Gaines. Really mature football play there. You're going to watch 35 here. Again, doesn't have to be a decleating block. You just have to maintain your lane. So if you get them to your outside when you're running middle return, you're going to win, right? And I didn't see anything that was just like, whoa, he absolutely unloaded on somebody, for the most part, it's just really well executed football. And then 25 just trusting his dudes and taking it to the house.
Love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. And, everything you already hit on, in my notes, which is so cool, right? We're definitely on the same page with this. The thing that really stood out to me was DeGuara and Tyler Davis sealing that inside. As we roll it back here on my screen, again, just watch DeGuara set up. I mean, he just squares up, and you hit the nail on the head, in my opinion, with Jonathan Garvin there, number 53. You don't have to, all you have to do is reroute. That's all you've got to do. You know the lane you're looking for, and then finish it off, cap it off here for the cutback. But again, if you guys watch DeGuara here, and for those of you listen on the pod, seals this block, and then he just starts driving, and pancakes that guy completely out of the picture. Now, the thing about Keyshawn Nixon that really sets this up, this is a middle return, right? And when you look at it from another camera angle, you could tell there is, like, I think I've got it here on the all 22. Let me see if I can find it here, Coach. Yeah, right here. So as it sets up, you can see this is a mid return. There's nothing extreme going left or right, in my opinion. And you correct me if you disagree there. But this right here is really what sells it. Keyshawn in this lean, the thing that I've noticed about kick return, Coach, is it's all in the hips, right? Just like Happy Gilmore, it's all in the hips. It's all, dude, if you can keep your feet moving and literally just have that hip lean, and Keyshawn has it to a T. Watch him sell this left here and then just bend it right back. And I love Dallin Levitt. Dallin Levitt pops out there, number 6. He's like, oh, crap, let me get out of the way. Well, so right here, you can really see DeGuara and Tyler Davis just mugging that dude right there. And
yeah, the cool thing that you're talking about here with that hip lean is, as you watch on Minnesota's coverage team, 83 is responsible for middle of field, MOF we call him, and he's number 6's guy in the count to block. So watch 83 here come down the field, and then you watch the hip lean, and this is where you get a little bit unsound. Now all of a sudden he stop it right there. If you can go back just a little bit, because we talk about lane integrity and how you fan and collapse. Right there, you see 3 white jerseys within like a 4-yard halo, right? And we always tell the kids, hey, if you see an elbow or you see a butt, you're wrong. You're in the wrong spot, right? Like you can't stack on kick return. That little hip lean by 25 pulls 83 all the way across out of his lane. And then all of a sudden there's nobody left, right? You got Greg Joseph, which I'm sure he's a really nice guy, but there's nothing he's going to do to Keyshawn Nixon here that's going to be anything special and have any prayer of stopping this return. So once you got that little bit of a window, you had 53 set it up well. Great hip lean by 25. This thing's out the gate, baby.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Love it. It's in my notes right here that Keyshawn Nixon took 83 completely out of the play. I mean, right here, again, he hops over 1. Now Keyshawn's really going to sell it here with the lean. There's the lean. He's in no man's land. You ain't coming back out of that pile. Right here, Coach, he's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, film's not going to be fun for him.
No. I bet film study, I bet that was horrible. Really, really horrible when you got in the meeting room this morning and had to recap that. So why did we mention that, guys? Again, that came 10:38 in the first quarter. That now puts the Packers up 7-3. Imagine if Minnesota had scored on that goal line stand. If they had scored on that goal line stand, then you'd be looking at 7-7 ball game, and it feels totally different. The momentum completely swung in Green Bay's favor after this kick return. And then the next play that we're going to talk about here is the Savage pick 6. This came in the first quarter, 5:35 left. This was a 4th and 3 play. They're kind of right on the cusp of getting into field goal range here for the Minnesota Vikings on Green Bay's 38. And man, I don't know, Coach. I'm so old school. Like when Green Bay went for it on 4th down and they were just out of field goal range, I was screaming, why not just pin them deep? Let him do a dead drop and just pin that thing inside the 10. Why are we going for it on 4th down? I'm such a boring football fan. It's not even funny, man. But here you got Minnesota going for it on 4th down. Minnesota comes out in an 11 gun, Y right flex, trips left, motion to spread snug is what I would call it. What's that mean? All right, so the motion's a little bit late here, Coach. Okay, but actually, I think I have it right here. Yeah, so you can kind of see the motion fully. This is on Next Gen Stats for those of you listening on the pod. So you can see they kind of come out in that trips left look, and then you got the pre-snap motion with Jefferson. You see 59 follow him across, not completely, but then you've got Quay kind of replacing him, so they're covering that up. So essentially, what you've got here is late rotation. They showed 2 on the shelf. And then as soon as the ball is snapped, or right before the ball is snapped, as soon as Jefferson comes over in motion, you see Adrian Amos come up in the box, and then Quay shifts over to the now weak side, or already weak side, I should say. And then you've got Devondre Campbell, who's going to kind of shadow 18 on this play. And I just wanted to show this because it really illustrates what happened on this play. You can see 59 snug up on 18 as he runs a little stick route. And then, of course, they tried to force the ball to Hockenson. Now, let's go back to the tape and watch it here on the TV copy. So Green Bay comes out in a nickel 2-4-5. Coach, they're in a 9, a 4-eye, 4-eye, and a 9. This seems to be the popular thing in Green Bay, especially when they're kind of anticipating pass. I don't know what it is. They are in love with those 9 techs, but they sugar the 2 high again. You've got the cover 3 look is what I think the end result was here. Although, man, with some of these man principles, Coach, and passing receivers off, it's so tough. Did you see man coverage here too? I'm going to go back to the next gen, and you tell me just to make sure. Did you see zone coverage here, or did you think man? Because sometimes people see 59 follow across. I'm sorry, I'm not expecting him to be in man coverage against Jefferson. This is a cover 3 defense, right?
Yeah, this is zone. What you're seeing on the swap between 59 and 7 there is they're actually setting strength to JJ. So it's just going to change the strength. When you go from what we call trips left, we would call that H jet right. It's just going to get you into a doubles set, right? From trips to doubles. So now you can set the strength to JJ again. So they're going to let Quay play that weak side, inside backer position, keep Devondre on the strong side. They're not going field boundary with any of the strength here. And then
Gotcha.
They're going to come really aggressively with this 4-man rush, as you had kind of mentioned. They really, really like the 9s because it changes the tackle's edge of departure or whatever. And then in keeping those 2-3 techniques, the 4 eyes that turn into 3s when they get their hands on guards, what that does is seal that pocket so Cousins can't step up. So you collapse it from the outside, can't step up. You're not really thinking of a rush setup here. You're not worried about them running the ball. You're as you had mentioned, kind of thinking throw game here. So you're going to collapse that pocket and pinch it from the edges and then seal the top off so that he's got to throw off his back foot.
Absolutely. Love it. So essentially what you've got is 59 on 18 at the sticks. You've got Rasul reading Cousins' eyes the entire way. Now, Rasul, to the best of my knowledge, is responsible for deep third on the right. But he reading Cousins' eyes and seeing that JJ actually drops down there on the sticks. Now, if you notice here on the backside, this is where it gets scary. You see Justin Jefferson there. He's covered up by Devondre Campbell. Then he throws his hand up and goes. I'm going to go back to the next gen copy, and this is why, Coach. If Kirk Cousins could have held on to that ball a second longer, watch what Justin Jefferson does here, number 18. I mean, he is off to the races because you got Rudy deep there, right?
Yep.
But he's deep center. Now he's starting to see, all right, Rasul's taking that crosser, so Rudy's kind of fading across back. But I think if he had it to do over again, Kirk Cousins in the room today watching the tape, he's going, God, if I'd have waited a split second longer and just threw it up to Justin Jefferson, you might have 6 right there. I think that's important to mention because it just shows you the small windows in which a play can be successful or fail. But again, you got to go back to the old homage, Coach, pressure pick, coverage, sack. Although it's awesome that Savage, getting the pick 6 here, he's kind of the golden boy, right? As we play it through here, Savage gets the tip and he takes it to the house. Awesome athleticism. Don't get me wrong. It's great seeing him take that to the house. But other people were saying, and myself included, well, Rasul Douglas made the play here. I mean, he really reads Hockenson, drives on the ball, gets a hand on it to tip it to Savage. But really the unsung hero, in my opinion, is Kenny Clark. We're going to run this all the way down for the pick 6, and we'll come back in just a second. But I want you to watch Kenny Clark as he collapses the pocket right here. If Kenny Clark isn't getting this pressure right here, Coach, that's a much easier throw. You see, Kurt had to try to get skinny to find that throwing lane, and lo and behold, I think that was really the difference because it was just a little bit too far out in front. If seeing where Rasul is positioned here, I think he would really like to put it in Hawkinson's left hip pocket, but he can't, because Kenny Clark's right in his face there with that bull rush. So pressure pick, coverage, sack, man, it always happens. Rasul with a great break on the ball. Savage got a gift, but again, you have got to give credit to Savage on this return as we roll it back here. I mean, this dude, this is the athleticism we talk about. It's so tough watching him struggle because you see it right here, Coach. Look how natural he is with the ball in his hand, off to the races, making everybody miss. I mean, this is great. And then you love to see the convoy, and at the very end, clean up Kirk Cousins right there in the end zone, man. It doesn't get any better than that. That's the look that's what you're looking for on defense. You want that look in that coach's eyes right there. Look at Kevin O'Connell again, just throw the head down like crap. I mean, you go from literally a 7-3 ball game to now a 14-3 ball game in one freaking play in which you had possession and it was a 4th down, right? I mean, it's just a huge, huge momentum swing. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we move to the next one, Coach?
No, man, I think you covered that beautifully.
Awesome. So again, the Savage pick 6 came there in the first quarter, 5:35 left. Now Green Bay's got them on the ropes. It's 14-3. We're going to fast forward to the second quarter, the 6-minute mark. 1st and 10 at Green Bay's 31-yard line. This is a 1st and 10 play. Don't rush anything. Don't see any ghosts out here. Let's just work the sticks, move our way down the field. Let's try to make this a 1-score game if you're Minnesota, right? So they come out and they've got a 21-gun spread. This was real unique to me, Coach. I would call it 21-gun spread, YH, double flex right, T boundary. And basically what we're talking about here is 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. That's going to trigger the 34 base for the Packers. What do? They come out in an empty gun set. Okay, so it's 21 gun spread. You've got the YH double flex right. So you've got your Y and your H, your tight end flexed out on the right. You've got your H, which is your fullback out here. And you got Dalvin Cook, which is your T, which means that's what I meant by T boundary. You got your T out here on the boundary. So essentially what Green Bay's going to do is come off with a 34 look. They're going to have a 9-tech, a 5-tech, a 0, and a 5. Why is that important? Guys, they are overloading the left side of the line of scrimmage if the camera is behind the quarterback here, okay? Why are they doing that? I'm going to tell you why they're doing that. Joe Barry had his best game of the year, in my opinion, Coach. And this is why. This is Justin Jefferson right here on the left side. They're saying, you know what? If you're going to throw the ball to him 90% of the time, then we're going to bring the pressure from that side. We're going to clog up those throwing lanes. And not only did they do that, they put Quay out there on him to give him a little jam and reroute right off the line of scrimmage. And I absolutely love it. I mean, Quay just showing the athleticism. I know what JJ's thinking right here. Justin Jefferson is thinking, you know what? Let me just get outside. It's a linebacker. And look how this quick twitch, bang. Before the play's over, you see Justin Jefferson is on the ground. He's taken completely out of the play, but that's not where Kirk Cousins was going with this ball. Green Bay comes out in a nickel 2-4-5. I'm sorry, that was the other play. They come out in the 34-9-5-0-5. They're showing a 2-high sugar, and you got Amos in a late mid rotation. Okay, so essentially he's going to drop down in the box over JJ. So you've got Quay bumping underneath, a little bracket over the top here with Amos, and Amos is kind of like Savage on that last play, Coach. He's just in the right place at the right time. Now, as far as the route combination, what I'm seeing is a 9-6 with the climb from Hawkinson. So you got a 9 route over here, which is basically a go. You got a 6, which is going to be a dig, but he knows I've got to get around Quay to run this dig. The fact that he jammed him and rerouted him slows the play down. So at this point, Kirk Cousins is thinking, okay, the climb on the opposite side is going to come from the tight end, the Y. He's going to kind of run a climb like this deep crosser. That's Hawkinson. But everything is so clogged up. What Kirk sees here, he reads it perfect, actually, Coach. He's going up top to Thielen. And I'm going to go to the other angle here if I can find it. Right here's the angle I want to show you. Watch Thielen up here on the upper side. He catches Ja flat-footed, Coach. He's gone. Now, some people were saying, well, the ball was already tipped. It actually was not. It was not tipped right here. The ball was not tipped yet. Ja is beat. He's flat-footed. He's not rebounding from that, right? So this is another example. I heard some people come out, Coach, and they said, you know, I feel like Ja should have had a higher PFF grade than he did. He had a great game, don't get me wrong, but plays like this is what's going to get you a negative grade because he's beat here. Kirk looking to throw to him. But, of course, just like before, pressure, pick, coverage, sack. You got the man, the myth, the legend, had the game of the day. TJ Slayton gets a hand on this ball right here. And again, why did it happen? Because Joe Barry scheming it up. We're going to clog those throwing lanes on Justin Jefferson's side and make it as difficult as possible to get 18 the ball. We're going to mug him off the line. And then we got a late rotation with a little bracket underneath or over the top rather. And just a gift right here, an absolute gift picked by Adrian Amos. And again, man, I got to give it to Joe Barry. And again, what if he gets his pass off, it doesn't get tipped, and he hits Thielen here? Why are we mentioning that? Because it's going to be 6. It's going to be on Jair Alexander for once again not playing within the scheme, and now you've got a 1-possession game coming up on the middle 8, and this game could go totally different the rest of the day. Not trying to be negative, just wanting to point it out. As Greg Cosell says, if you see it, you got to say it. but just caught Ja peeking on that 9, and thank goodness TJ Slayton got his hand on it. Well, what do you see here, Coach? Anything else stand out to you?
Yeah, that was really well done, Clayton. Good job on that. The one thing that I would just mention is with a 0-5 and a 9, what you're doing on that top side, knowing that the Vikings are an empty now, is you're dictating the protection, right? So you're going to have your left tackle one-on-one, your left guard one-on-one, and your center one-on-one, and then you're going to essentially waste the right guard and say, you can go help the right tackle or the center. We don't really care. We're bringing pressure from this side, and it's not really pressure. It's just really good kind of
Right.
4-man rush formational stuff. Knowing that you don't have a run threat and you have nobody to help in pass pro when you're an empty now. So really well schemed up by the D-line coach, Joe Barry, and just a really nice job defensively.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to point out here before we move on to the next play is, TJ Slayton getting the tip. If you look here real close, Coach, look at this straight arm right here. I mean, he gets kind of lateral with the ground, and look at this. Full extension, and he's just like, you know what, I'm putting him right in Kirk Cousins' lap, and then the last second, a big boy like that can expose their ribs a little bit more than some of the smaller guys, can't he?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, I don't know. I've never been that big.
Got a little more. I'll tell you, I'm gonna be that big. I keep eating Chinese like I did tonight. My gosh, man. Whew. All right, let's move on to the next play here. Let's see what we've got. This is going to be your baby here, I believe.
Yeah, this is the one.
This one out here, man. I'm going to start it. I'm just going to mention one thing, and I'm sure I'll get something wrong here with it, but I want you to clean it up. Anything I do get wrong, but man, when I seen the pre-snap movement here, Coach, guys, we're talking about the Aaron Jones 31-yard run. This came in the second quarter, 4:31, immediately following that possession where the interception happened. Green Bay's up 17-3. All right. 4:31 left. This is a 3rd and 1 play at the 50, roughly at the 50. Green Bay comes out in a gun 13. Okay, a gun 13. What's that mean? 1 running back, 3 tight ends, only 1 wide receiver, right? And he's over to the far right. They come out in what I would call a 13 gun strong left, H-wing shift to full. Guys, this looks like Curly Lambeau stuff, because what's so cool is I mentioned gun 13, right? Or 13 gun, but you see Aaron real quickly, he looks at DeGuara and says, hey, look, come right here, stand right here, gets snug in behind the guard. Aaron goes under center, quick snap, bang, and the toss. This looks like Curly Lambeau era stuff right here, Coach. I know you're going to have some fun with it, so I'm going to shut my mouth. I want to hear what you. This did, man. It absolutely it fired me up. Let me go ahead and share your screen.
All right. Yeah, this was like I was saying, when we watched this thing live, I told you, like, hey, we got to make note of that thing, because this is just really cool. I'm going to show it from the end zone view here real quick, just so we have an idea. When you were talking about putting DeGuara here in what we call that sniffer position, or right there in the A gap real tight, watch what it's going to do here to the defense. Za'Darius Smith now has to tuck in, but look at where we're at pre-snap alignment right now. Yeah. We have 2 open uncovered gaps, right? You've got B gap and C gap uncovered. Now as Za'Darius comes in, and he's going to come in a little bit late, we'll just do a real quick numbers count here when we run this full outside zone toss, okay? So when we do our numbers count, we count the center as a half man, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to block on this side, 5.5 because we'll count the center, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're already in a hat-on-hat situation. You love being there. Cool. We like the numbers pre-snap. But now watch what Elgton Jenkins does here, left guard. He's going to get this hook on outside zone so quickly that he'll be able to pass him off to Myers, and now you've taken your half man of a center and put a full man up. So now all of a sudden, when we run this snapback, look how fast he gets off the ball here. Yeah. Let's real quick stop and do our count again, okay? We got 1, 2, we got 3, 4, 5 now with Myers, 6 with DeGuara leading the way. You are 6 on 5 now, literally meaning you're running out of people to block. DeGuara is probably the most surprised one here because he didn't think he would get through that hole that cleanly. Really did. Great edge by Bach. Really good ball get off by Jenkins. And then literally, this is day one stuff for a running back. You're just reading the hips of your ISO blocker. You're H-back there, knowing that you've got flow way over the top from the safety who's now got to fill from 9 yards deep. You got the backside inside backer picked up. You've got the play side inside backer run off by Bakhtiari. Like, this is just so well done. And it's getting back to what we talked about a ton last night, where this feels like vintage Green Bay football, right? You're using formations, you're using personnel, you're using varying snap counts. It's the little things, the detail things that take so darn long to get right. But when you get them right, you know, the little things make all the difference. Now you are literally a full man up in the run game. You can't get better than that. It's exceptional.
Love it, dude. Love it. When I seen it, you know, in real time, this is one of the plays I was talking about last night. I'm like, man, there's something going on with the motion last night. Like they seemed like the snaps came a lot quicker. This was one of the plays that came to mind when I went and watched it back and seen how Aaron started in a gun that kept the guys at home. If you notice too on that play, on that all 22 that you had, or behind the line, I should say, it actually, you could see they had 3 guys on the right side of the line of scrimmage and only 2 blockers there. Like, they are so out of whack. And again, a defense should be able to adjust to that, right? Not when 12 comes up and goes, DeGuara, get right here under center, bang, snap, pop, toss, and you're off to the races. It's just, man, everything was clicking last night. You could tell this team came to play. It meant something to them. It was a lot of fun for sure. So, again, that play came. Green Bay was up 17-3, big 31-yard gain. That's going to set up the next play. We are now inside what we call the middle 8, and this is the last play we're going to outline. Middle 8, turnover differential, absolutely huge. Green Bay ran away with both of them last night. That's why when we got into the second half, I never once did I think, okay, Minnesota might be able to come back. And a lot of people were going, oh, what about the 33-0 comeback, right? But when you win the middle 8 and you win a turnover differential battle, and you know you've got a running game that's averaging, at one point they were averaging 10 yards a carry last night, like with Jones. Just unbelievable. You're going to control the clock. You know what your opponent is. It is the clock. But this play came, again, second quarter, 2:51 left. I'm going to share your screen. I'm going to kind of set it up, though, and then and pass it off to you. This is the Rodgers touchdown pass to Tonyan. Again, Green Bay was up 17-3, 2:51 left. It was a 2nd and 11 play at Minnesota's 21-yard line. Green Bay come out in a gun 11 empty, strong right, T wide, and they're going to run what I would call an Ohio Wolf dig, okay? Ohio Wolf dig. The old terminology would be maybe a 95 post corner wolf with the dig underneath, but essentially that's what Green Bay ran here. And the thing that stood out to me, Coach, was Aaron going through his progressions and then resetting the pocket. But tell me what you see here.
Yeah. First thing that came to mind here is how wild it is, and the trust that, I don't know if it's Rodgers setting this up, or, you know, if it's I don't know who is in charge of setting the protections here, but you're an empty, baby. You don't have a back to help you, and they're still going to man slide this thing. Look at this. There is nobody protecting B gap here, right? Like, any pressure through here, you're going to trust Rodgers to make that hot read. If this back were to shoot B gap, you know, you've got to trust Rodgers to make that hot read before he gets hit. So really cool on that. And then I think that's what Tonyan sees here. I don't think this was a designated route to Tonyan to bend off his crosser. I think he sees that he's the hot here. So he's got a mesh drag that he's got to get to B gap, should pressure come here, you know, then he's that hot read. As soon as he comes across and he sees that inside backer standing put right here, then he knows he just has to get vertical. You can watch him bend this sucker up. These are, again, some of those little things. Great job by Bach to wash that pocket back out. And then Rodgers is going to find Big Bob Tonyan as he goes up and bends that thing back around. And that's a really early version of scramble drill, right? We had talked about scramble drill all the time. Well, let's watch it here. We've got Tonyan here. He's going to come in. He's going to be the hot. He's going to see that there's no reason for him to be hot. And he's going to bend that sucker all the way up. And it's going to be awesome execution by him, because that's not the designed play. And he knows he's open. Rodgers knows. It's just beautiful. That is really well done, really well designed, really well executed play.
Love it. Love it. And, you know, that's what's so cool, too, is we kind of see, you're watching the same play and we kind of see things a little bit different, which is really cool. And I think you're on point there. Like, when I first watched it, it took me probably 40 minutes, coach, to go, what concept are they running here? And that's what's so difficult about the modern NFL game right now is there's so many choice routes. There's so much freedom. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have ruined the league. There is just so much going on. And it's funny, like, it reminded me of a few weeks ago when we were talking about a climb route in a concept. And I said, would you guys call this a climb, coach? You said, we call this get open. And that's a lot of what's going on in the game. So I'm going to go back to the all 22 look here from the sideline. And this is kind of what I seen. Let's pretend this was all a called play, okay? Like everything was by design. Essentially what you're going to have here is Ohio on the bottom, which is Christian Watson is going to be going deep. Now, the issue that Christian Watson has is this guy is playing so far off. He's playing roughly 7 yards off of Christian Watson. So Christian has got to get him to bite so he can go deep, right? Underneath, to complete the Ohio concept, you're going to have, I believe it was Randall Cobb who's just going to run a quick out, right? So that's going to be your Ohio. Ohio concept is a 9 route with an out route. On the opposite side, the reason I said wolf dig or post corner wolf dig is because the wolf concept is typically you're going to have this tight end in the middle here with Tonyan. His end result is going to be a deep corner, and he's going to have another corner underneath. And then, of course, the final part of this is the dig underneath from A.J. Dillon. But again, you want to point out that it's gun 11 empty. You're forcing them into nickel. Then you put your T, your running back, all the way out to the right. And essentially what you do, unless they walk a linebacker out here, seeing that they've got a corner, to the best of my knowledge, on A.J. Dillon, then they know this is zone coverage. That's what's going to tell them. Because if it was man, there's no way that they would pass a corner off on a running back and put a linebacker on a receiver or a tight end. You would much rather have that corner in that other position. So essentially, this tells Rodgers pre-snap, this is most likely zone coverage, period. Now, when they run this concept, let's assume that it wasn't on the fly, right? So what I'm seeing here with Tonyan as he runs, well, first of all, focus on Christian Watson at the bottom of the screen. That guy's playing so far off. He gets in the throttle, then chops it down right here. And look at that. This guy has grown so much, coach. Look at that route. Like, if Aaron stays on him, he could probably throw a tud right there, just a laser. All because that little jab step out, because he knows I got to create some kind of separation. Now, he knows Cobb isn't there, but the way I see it is Rodgers looks, the ball snapped, he looks Tonyan first, then he comes back to Christian Watson, and he sees, okay, this safety is creeping, and the corner kind of has him hemmed up here. My guess is Rodgers probably didn't completely trust Christian in thinking he may be going outside, and he definitely isn't throwing that ball, right? But Christian's setting him up to go back in. By this time, though, Rodgers has moved on. So now Rodgers comes back to the other side, probably looking at 28 underneath, fills the pocket, resets it, and then at this point right here, he's seeing Tonyan. Now let's watch Tonyan the entire way. You can see he tries to work the middle, completely crowded. He's the hot, and then bang. That's what I thought it was designed, coach. But I think looking at it again, you're probably right. This looks like a triple dig, and they're just thinking, let's pick up 5 yards here. I think what they were seeing here is they were expecting this safety to stay on the shelf, and when he rolled down last second, late rotation, that kind of changed everything right here. But Tonyan, man, being on the same page, and he is screaming, throw me the freaking ball, man. And Rodgers, again, the footwork is what really stood out to me, coach. I'm going to try to zoom it in here real quick because I really want to try to key in on Rodgers' footwork. Let's see if we can make this work here real quick. Because I'm telling you, this looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers when it came to footwork. Let's see here. We can click off of it. All right, let's see it zoom in here. Look at Rodgers right here. Like, look at this. Look how quick he gets back, coach.
Yeah, that's really, really good work there. Really nice job by left guard Elton Jenkins, stopping the bull and pull there. As you can see, the D tackle trying to get into his chest, bull rush him, and then snap him down to get the free release. Good job by Jenkins, dropping his hips on the bull and then resetting on the jump set to kill the bull and pull. And really good job by Rodgers to just read that, buy himself a little bit more space, knowing that he's probably got something special coming over the top the second that he saw that single high safety chopping his feet.
Yeah, and Tonyan here too, when he starts to bend this back, he really makes the safety kind of go. You see right there, the safety kind of hits left and it's over. I mean, it's over. The other thing I wanted to point out too, coach, is at the top of the screen on the offensive line. First of all, across the board, you got Bach on an island, you got Elton on an island, you got Josh Myers on an island, but then you've got Runyon and Zach Tom at right tackle. So I don't know what happened to Yosh, why he left the game, but it seemed like Tom got a significant amount of snaps according to PFF. It's amazing. You watch the game live and you don't see half this stuff unfolding, but watch Runyon and Tom just bully Zadarius Smith here. I mean, like Tom gets outside, make sure that outside leg's way out there. He's going to protect the edge, and then Runyon just comes back over and gives him just a punch in the mouth right there. Bang. So you trust your best offensive lineman in David Bakhtiari to be on an island, Elton Jenkins to be on an island. And I'll tell you what, man, Josh Myers staying at home right here. Runyon gets that little punch, passes him off to Myers, comes back over and helps Tom, and it gives Aaron just enough time to reset that pocket. And then, of course, bang to the corner, man. Just an awesome play there. Is there anything else you want to touch on there from the offensive line? Did I read that right? Is that what you've seen as well?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's man slide protection with the open B gap. You're going to slide the protection, give the help to maybe you're not as experienced offensive lineman in Zach Tom, knowing that he's going against their premier rush defender, right? And Zadarius Smith. So you're going to give him help with Runyon. Runyon does such a nice job of staying home at first, though. A lot of times you see the overcommitment by the guard sliding out, and then you get pressure up the middle because you're attacking half man with that D tackle. You got to give Myers enough time to snap the ball and reset himself to get sternum on sternum. But this is why everybody loved Zach Tom coming out, right? It's just his feet. He's just so fast, to get up and kill the angle, kill the edge, run the hoop off of Zadarius Smith, and make him commit back to inside, back to where the help is. It's a mature football player play from a rookie right tackle to get out there, beat him to his spot, and force him back into your help. Everybody on the offense executed this perfectly. This is a triple drive route, like we said. You're right. You got to fade out on the bottom side. Like, this is just very well done. This is what we thought Green Bay could be this year.
Absolutely. Now, I want to point this out, Coach, because early in the season, Aaron Rodgers annihilated Josh Myers over and over and over, right? Just so many times you could see him getting frustrated, cussing Josh. You could hear it on the camera. I won't say the words he used, but he used some explicitives and then followed it with Josh, right? Now, watch this at the end, though. We just talked about Josh Myers getting the snap off, having the defender passed off to him. This guy is becoming, I believe, a borderline Pro Bowl caliber center. I really believe that. He is the anchor of this offensive line now. Don't get me wrong. David Bakhtiari is the most talented. Elton Jenkins has the most upside. But when you look at what Josh Myers has done from his rookie year to now, has been amazing. But this is what I wanted to point out here, and it sounds so silly, but watch right here. You see the big boys, right, celebrating. And watch 12 come in with Josh Myers.
Yep.
Love it, dude. They're growing together.
Got to do that. I mean, he made the play happen, and this is awesome stuff. Again, this is some of that exciting stuff that we talked about. Like, this is the potential. Like, it takes time, especially with all these young dudes and revolving door on the offensive line again this year. But just really, really well done, very well executed. And we saw that time and time again yesterday with some of that complementary football all across the board for Green Bay on offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, and you heard Bill Belichick say it over and over the last 3 decades, even longer than that. Offense, defense, special teams. Offense, defense, special teams. All 3 phases. Offense, defense, special teams. Everybody goes, oh, shut up. It's Tom Brady. No, it's offense, defense, and special freaking teams. That is what makes this thing go. And the Packers, I was just watching, for those of you listening on the pod, we're recording this on Monday night. I was just listening to Monday Night Countdown. And a lot of the talking heads, they say things just to get attention, right? It's just how it is. It drives ratings and all that good stuff. But there are a few that you hear when they talk, I listen. And Steve Young is one. Steve Young was talking. And he said, I'm going to tell you right now, don't write off the Packers. The Packers might be the hottest team coming into the playoffs. And you should have seen the other guys, the ones that have never played a snap of football in their life. They immediately went, oh, what are you talking? Like Rex Ryan's been around the game a lot. I get it. But he immediately was like, oh, get out of here with that crap. And basically saying the Packers are going to overlook the Lions and this and that. There are so many people, Coach. And I know this is out of your realm because you're strictly X's and O's and you don't buy into the media hype and all that stuff. But there are some people out there that are rooting against the Packers. And I hear Aaron at the presser today was like, there was a lot of people saying we were dead. And yeah, I'm telling you, there's not many teams that want to play them. Now, they got to take care of business against Detroit. It's going to be a scrappy team. Have you watched much of the Lions this year, Coach?
Yeah, I was actually, before we were doing this, I found a bunch of the clips from the last time we had done this with that Detroit loss. So I was watching some of those clips again. We had talked a little bit on the show last night as well. Detroit's going to be tough. Like any game you play in the NFL obviously is a tough game, but two teams I don't want to see right now are Detroit and Green Bay. Like they're both very similar in that they're really starting to get the little things together. All the things that we pointed out tonight that's 6 plays out of 130 that we could go through, right? But so you're actually starting to see a lot of that gel. It's so cliche to say it, but like all that gel, right? Of Detroit, of Green Bay really come together. I think defensively, your inside linebackers have to be really, really special this week. And playing some complementary football to help with Amon-Ra, to help with DeAndre. They've got some talent there with Jamal as well. They're playing well offensively, Detroit is right now. And then for Green Bay's offense, I think the big thing is going to be, how are you going to handle another premier edge rusher when you still have some questions on the line? Yeah. So I didn't see as much screen game as I thought I would see yesterday from Green Bay. Possibly when the game started getting out of hand, they thought, let's keep that shelved. We don't need it as much. A great way to slow down some of that pass rush, and then just keeping Rodgers upright and using formations, using personnel, using field boundary to run the football against a pretty talented defensive front for Detroit. I think those are kind of the keys that you have to really focus on.
Absolutely. And Jared Goff is playing great football right now. They're protecting the football. As you guys remember, in Detroit, Green Bay lost that game. If there was one game this year, and it's a team sport, I usually don't do this, but if there's one game where you say, did Aaron Rodgers cost them a game? It was that Detroit game. I mean, turning the ball over and doing it inside the 5, leaving points on the field, and turnover differential in middle 8. If they button that up this time around and they can stop the run, that's the thing that stood out to me against Minnesota, was they really stopped the run early. I mean, they were stonewalling Dalvin Cook. I think the first 2 drives, he was averaging 1 or 2 yards a carry. And that kind of gave them enough time for Keyshawn Nixon to go absolutely crazy on the kickoff return. Then here comes the interceptions. Once you go up by 2 scores, now you're forcing the other team to play left-handed. Detroit, though, they're just I don't want to say they're more well coached than Minnesota, but they're definitely a scrappier bunch, man. They're a team that they really wear very truthfully on their sleeve the personality of their head coach, which is you guys heard it and everybody laughed. We're going to bite their kneecaps and all this stuff that Motor City Dan Campbell said. But that team's bought in, man, and they're playing for something special up there too. This isn't going to be a pushover, but I'm excited because I don't know if you heard, Coach, but they just flexed it. It was a 1 o'clock. Now it's the Sunday night game of the week. It's bittersweet because I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. trying to get a post-game show out. But at the same time, it's like just like in the Waterboy, last game of the year, you can't hold anything back, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And, I think you hit the nail on the head. Culture still matters in the NFL even. This is still a people business, right? And you got guys like Dan Campbell. You got Kevin O'Connell over in Minnesota, two coaches that I think really brought in an excellent culture and have no problem, holding accountability in their locker rooms. So, great win by Green Bay, beating a well-coached, pretty talented, very culturally sound team in Minnesota. Tough thing is now they got to go do it again, right? But it doesn't seem like they've backed down for that. It kind of seems like the playoffs started for them when they were sitting back there as a 4-win team, and now all of a sudden they're just rolling. So it's fun to watch.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, man. As always, it's been a blast coming on here and talking ball with you. And for those of you listening on the pod, we appreciate you making us a part of your day. Thanks for everybody who stopped in on YouTube and Twitter here live. I do want to say, make sure you go to my Twitter page at Packers_access. You will see a tweet pinned at the top of the page. If you retweet that tweet and follow the account, we'll get you entered into the contest to win an autographed Paul Hornung jersey, the great Golden Boy. We're going to be giving that away here in the next couple of weeks. So appreciate everybody's time. Coach, thank you for your time. As always, let's all go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go Pack, go.